Most men live their whole lives trying to make women like them. They chase approval, do tricks, and change who they are just to keep her attention for one more day. But here's the strange part. The harder you try to prove you're good enough, the faster she stops liking you. Because the moment you ask for approval, you give away your power. This video is not about pickup lines, money, or being popular. It's about something way more powerful. A single change in how you think. A change that can make almost any woman feel attracted to you without you saying a word. If you've ever been ignored by a woman who once seemed interested, if you've ever thought over and over about the same moment in your head, wondering what you said wrong, or if you've ever felt like you have to keep performing just to keep her attention, then what you're about to learn will change everything. Because attraction isn't built through thinking. It's not about convincing her you're a great guy. It's not about proving you're worthy. It's about the energy you give off, the silent belief that she already likes you. Most men start from a place of not having enough. They meet a woman and instantly think, how do I make her like me? That single thought destroys everything before it even starts. It makes her the prize and you the chaser. From that point forward, every text, every joke, every move becomes a test. And women can sense that energy from far away. The change begins the moment you flip that around. When you stop chasing and start acting like she already likes you, everything changes. Your tone changes. Your eye contact gets deeper. Your words slow down. You stop performing and she starts reacting. This is not being cocky. It's being aligned. Because the female mind doesn't respond to thinking. It mirrors feelings. When you feel secure, she feels safe. When you feel like you have plenty of options, she feels desire. When you act as if she's already chosen you, she begins to feel like she has chosen you. And that's where obsession begins. But if you don't learn this rule, you'll keep repeating the same pattern, chasing, proving, explaining. You'll become predictable. You'll become easy to figure out. And in the world of attraction, being predictable is death. She'll start to test you, lose respect, and eventually drift away. Not because you're not good enough, but because you gave away the power. You let her emotions lead while yours followed. You traded mystery for certainty, and certainty kills excitement. In this video, you'll learn the one formula that flips that script. You'll understand how to show magnetic confidence, the kind that doesn't chase, doesn't explain, and doesn't need to be liked. Because when you act as if she already likes you, her subconscious will start to look for proof that it's true. That's how obsession begins. Not through words, but through the invisible pull of your power. By the end of this video, you'll understand the secret that men spend years trying to figure out. You'll realize why women become obsessed with men who don't try, why emotional certainty creates attraction, and how to build the mindset that turns power into magnetism. No tricks, no lies, no pretending. Just one psychological shift, one truth about male and female interactions that will change how women respond to you forever. Because once you learn to treat her as if she already likes you, you'll stop being the man who chases love and become the man women can't stop thinking about. 1. The paradox. Why average men get attention. There's a strange paradox you've probably seen in real life. A man who looks completely ordinary, average height, average looks, average job. Yet somehow women circle around him. They laugh louder when he speaks. They lean in closer. They compete for his attention. Even when he barely seems to notice them. And you look at him thinking, what does he have that I don't? He's not better looking. He's not richer. He's not even particularly charming. But he has something that every man who struggles with women lacks, a frame that never bends. You've seen this paradox again and again. The guy who shouldn't get attention but always does. Meanwhile, men who spend hours working on their looks, their muscles, their careers end up being ignored by the same women they're trying to impress. It doesn't make sense on the surface because you've been told your whole life that attraction is logical, that if you look better, achieve more, and act right, women will like you. But attraction doesn't follow logic. It follows emotional gravity. And some men, even without external advantages, create that gravity effortlessly. Years ago, I watched a man like that. He wasn't special in any obvious way. His clothes were plain. His hair was messy. He worked a simple job, made an average income. But when women were around him, something happened. They smiled differently. Their eyes softened. Their tone changed. It was as if he carried an invisible force that pulled their emotions in his direction. I studied him quietly for months. At first, I thought it was luck. Maybe he just happened to meet the right women. Then I thought it was confidence. But no, his confidence wasn't loud or showy. It was calm. Then I realized it was none of those things. It was something deeper, something almost invisible. It was the frame he carried into every interaction. He never sought validation. He never chased reactions. He behaved as if attraction was already mutual, as if it was a given, not a goal. That single mindset made all the difference. When he spoke to women, there was no nervous energy. He wasn't trying to say the right thing or make her laugh. He wasn't performing. He was simply there, grounded, unbothered, and subtly amused. Women could feel that he wasn't waiting for their approval, and that's why they gave it. It took me years to understand what was really happening underneath. Attraction doesn't start with what you say or do. It starts with the story she feels when she's around you. And that story is shaped entirely by your frame. You see, every man carries a silent message into his interactions. Some men project, "I hope you like me." Others project, "You already do." And women always respond to that message, even when no words are spoken. The average man enters a conversation trying to earn attraction. He thinks, if I say something clever, if I'm polite, if I compliment her, maybe she'll like me. But the moment that thought crosses his mind, he loses power because the subtext beneath every word becomes, "Please validate me." Women can't consciously explain why it turns them off, but emotionally they sense it instantly. They feel your uncertainty, and uncertainty kills desire. Meanwhile, the average man who gets obsession enters the same situation with an entirely different inner world. He's not trying to get a reaction. He's assuming the reaction already exists. He talks to her not as a stranger he hopes to impress, but as a woman who's already intrigued by him. His words don't need to be perfect because his frame says everything. His belief writes the emotional script for her. This is the paradox. Women don't become obsessed because of what you do. They become obsessed because of what you believe. They feel the world through your emotional certainty. When a man believes she already likes him, he stops sending signals of need. His voice becomes slower. His eye contact steadier. His body language relaxed. He doesn't lean in. He lets her lean toward him. He doesn't rush to fill silence. He lets silence work for him. Every moment communicates, "I belong here. You're the one trying to figure me out." That shift changes everything. Because women mirror the emotions of the man they're with. If you feel nervous, she feels tension. If you feel confident, she feels attraction. If you feel like she's already yours, her body and mind start to act as if it's true. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you met a woman who wasn't even your type at first, but after she showed interest, you started seeing her differently? You began to feel attraction because she acted as if you were desirable. She projected belief and you mirrored it. Women do the exact same thing, but far more powerfully. That's why the ordinary guy, the one you never expected to get attention, always does, because he's not trapped inside his own self-doubt. He's projecting certainty. And certainty is seductive. For years, men have been sold techniques, lines, strategies, games, but none of them work if your frame is weak. Because the female mind is built to test what you feel, not what you say. If your confidence is conditional, she'll sense it. If your words come from fear, she'll feel it. You can't fake your inner world. It leaks through every gesture, every pause, every look. So, what makes that average man different isn't his appearance or charm. It's that he radiates belief instead of need. And belief creates reality. Here's the secret. Treat the woman as if she already likes you. That's the technique. It sounds simple, but it's psychological power at its purest form. It flips the dynamic instantly because the moment you stop trying to convince her, she starts trying to convince herself. She begins to wonder why you're so calm, why you're not chasing, why you seem to know something she doesn't. That curiosity becomes tension. That tension becomes attraction. And that attraction becomes obsession. When you treat her as if she already likes you, you remove the biggest killer of desire, uncertainty about your value. You act from abundance, not fear. You lead the emotional dance instead of following it. And she feels it in every second of the interaction. This is the first turning point, the foundation of everything that follows. Because this one principle transforms how you speak, how you move, and how you connect. It's not about arrogance or manipulation. It's about embodying a truth most men never realize. Women fall for the emotion a man makes them feel. And emotion always follows frame. In the next part, you'll understand why this works on a biological and psychological level. Why women feel what you feel and how your emotional state becomes the seed of her obsession. But first, remember this. The difference between the man she ignores and the man she can't stop thinking about isn't looks, money, or status. It's belief. Belief shapes frame and frame shapes attraction. The ordinary man who treats her as if she already likes him doesn't play games. He lives in certainty. And certainty in a world full of insecure men feels like power. That's why average men get obsession, because they've mastered the rarest skill of all, acting as if they have nothing to prove. 2. The core law. She feels what you feel. Every woman you meet is an emotional mirror. She doesn't fall for words. She doesn't fall for logic. She falls for what she feels in your presence. And what she feels is nothing more than a reflection of what you feel. This is the core law most men never learn. They try to say the right thing, follow the right steps, act confident, but it never feels real to her. Because women don't respond to actions. They respond to energy. You can't fake what you feel inside. Your emotions leak through tone, rhythm, eye contact, posture, and silence. That's why the same sentence said by two men can create completely opposite reactions. One man says, "You look beautiful." And she feels uncomfortable. Another man says the exact same thing, and she blushes, laughs, and stays up all night thinking about him. What changed? Not the words, the frame, the internal emotion behind the words. Women are emotional beings by nature. They were designed to sense subtle emotional signals long before language even existed. They can feel tension, weakness, hesitation, and power without needing to consciously identify it. That's why a woman can say, "I don't know what it is about him, but something about him feels different." She's not analyzing you. She's feeling you. When you understand this, you stop chasing outcomes and start mastering the only thing that matters, your emotional state. Because the truth is, she feels what you feel. If you feel uncertain, she feels doubt. If you feel nervous, she feels distance. If you feel attraction, she feels connection. And if you feel like she already likes you, she begins to feel like she already does. That's the essence of emotional mirroring. Your reality becomes her reality. Your conviction becomes her experience. The strongest frame always wins because emotion is contagious. Let's break it down. When you walk up to a woman and you're anxious, your body tightens, your breath shortens, and your tiny expressions reveal fear. Even if you say all the right things, your physiology is broadcasting insecurity. Her subconscious picks up that signal in less than a second. She doesn't know why, but something feels off. You've told her without words that you think she's above you. And so she feels exactly that. You're beneath her. But when you approach with calm certainty, when your shoulders are relaxed, your voice slow, your gaze steady, her nervous system reads safety. And safety is the foundation of attraction. It allows her body to open, her energy to soften, and her emotions to flow. She feels drawn toward you without knowing why. That's why confidence isn't about faking dominance or arrogance. It's about emotional leadership. You lead her state by managing your own. When you stay grounded, she feels grounded. When you radiate calm, she feels safe. When you act as if she already likes you, she starts feeling attraction that didn't even exist before. Here's the deeper truth. Most men are emotional followers. They wait for cues from women before deciding how to feel. If she's warm, they feel confident. If she's cold, they feel insecure. They're like emotional thermostats controlled by her mood. And women can feel that dependence instantly. They know when a man's emotions are reactive, and it kills attraction on a cellular level. But the men women obsess over are the emotional leaders. They decide how they feel before the interaction begins. Their emotions are self-sourced, not audience-dependent. They walk into every moment with an internal message, I am already chosen. And because their nervous system is calm, stable, and congruent, she mirrors that emotion. She begins to feel the attraction he already feels. That's the paradox of power. You don't create attraction by trying to make her feel something. You create it by feeling it first. Your emotions are the seed. Her emotions are the echo. That's the secret most men never master. It's not manipulation. It's calibration. Because your nervous system communicates faster than words ever could. Before you even say hello, she's already felt your inner world. And your inner world tells her one of two things. Either, I'm hoping you like me, or, you already do. That invisible message determines everything. Imagine two men at the same bar. The first one sees a woman and overthinks. He analyzes her expression, plans his approach, rehearses his lines. By the time he walks up, his energy screams uncertainty. The second man sees the same woman and feels a quiet belief. Of course, she's drawn to me. He walks over casually, says whatever comes naturally, and somehow she laughs and leans in. The difference isn't what they said, it's what they felt. Women don't decide attraction rationally. They catch it like a virus transmitted through emotional resonance. When your internal story says, I'm already chosen, you give her subconscious permission to believe it, too. That's why acting as if she already likes you isn't delusion. It's alignment. You're simply setting the emotional frame that her nervous system will follow. Now, here's where it gets even more powerful. Even if she doesn't like you yet, you can still lead her emotions by holding your frame. You're not lying to yourself. You're shaping the emotional field because emotions are energy and energy responds to conviction. When you act from the belief that she's already intrigued, you bypass her logic and speak directly to her primal instincts. She starts to feel what your body is saying long before her mind can object. That's the foundation of delusional confidence. Not arrogance, not fantasy. Faith. Faith in your value. Faith in your presence. Faith that you don't need to earn attraction because attraction is a natural reaction to grounded masculine energy. Delusional confidence is not pretending to be better than you are. It's refusing to let temporary doubt rewrite your identity. It's understanding that your energy defines the interaction, not her reaction. It's the mental position of I don't need to convince anyone. I've already won. When you live from that frame, you free yourself from outcome dependence. You no longer chase. You magnetize. You stop asking, does she like me, and start thinking, let's see if she can handle me. That internal shift flips the polarity instantly. She feels it. Her body relaxes. Her tone softens. Her eyes linger longer because now you've become the emotional leader. This is what psychologists call state transference. Your emotional state transfers to others through mirror neurons. Humans unconsciously synchronize with the dominant nervous system in any interaction. In male-female dynamics, that dominance isn't aggression. It's emotional stability. The man who can stay grounded under pressure becomes magnetic. The man who reacts to every test loses his gravity. So, when you feel confident, she feels attraction. When you feel certainty, she feels safety. When you feel abundance, she feels excitement. You're not doing anything to her. You're simply allowing her to experience herself through the energy you create. That's why women say, it's not what he said, it's how he made me feel. Because she doesn't remember your words. She remembers the emotion her body experienced around you. If that emotion was tension, she avoids you. If it was ease mixed with polarity, she craves you. This is the foundation of the obsession dynamic. When your frame says, I already have what you want, her subconscious begins to chase emotional alignment with you. She wants to feel that grounded certainty again. She becomes addicted to your calm. That's how obsession begins. Not through logic, but through emotional resonance. Most men never reach this level because they try to act confident. But acting is hollow when it's not supported by belief. You can't imitate energy. You must generate it. That's why delusional confidence works, because it doesn't depend on external validation. It starts internally and radiates outward. And once it does, the world adjusts to match your frame. From this moment on, understand this. She feels what you feel. You are the emotional leader. You decide the temperature of the interaction. You choose the frequency she'll tune into. And if your belief is unwavering, she will align with it. The core law is simple but absolute. She feels your emotion before she understands it. She mirrors your confidence before she questions it. And she desires your certainty long before she admits it. That's why the men who live in their frame create magnetism that logic can't explain. Because emotion doesn't need explanation. It only needs direction. And the man who controls his emotion controls the dynamic. Now you know the law. She feels what you feel. And when you learn to master your inner state, you master every interaction. In the next part, you'll see this law in motion. 2 men, 1 woman, same situation, and how the difference in mindset alone determines who becomes forgettable and who becomes the obsession she can't escape. 3. The 2 men test, mindset in action. Imagine this scene. 2 men walk into the same room. They both notice the same woman, confident, beautiful, magnetic. She's standing at the bar, her posture relaxed, eyes scanning the room like she already knows she's being watched. Both men decide to approach her. But what happens next reveals the single most powerful truth about attraction. The first man, let's call him the ordinary one. He's not a bad guy. He's well-dressed, polite, and genuinely interested. He straightens his posture, takes a deep breath, and walks over with a rehearsed smile. His voice trembles just slightly when he says, "Hi, I just wanted to say you look amazing tonight." She smiles politely. He feels encouraged. He starts talking about his job, how hard he works, how recently he got promoted, how he's been hitting the gym. He's trying to show her that he's a man of value, that he's ambitious, that he's worth her attention. He asks questions, nods enthusiastically, agrees with everything she says. On the surface, he's doing everything right. But inside, she feels something off. His words are fine. His smile is fine. Yet, something about his energy tells her he's performing. He's trying to earn her interest. And the moment a man tries to earn, he silently declares that she's the prize. Every compliment, every self-promotion, every attempt to look perfect, all of it says the same thing. Please like me. She doesn't think that consciously, but her emotions translate it instantly. Her brain reads his subtext like a second language. This man needs my approval to feel valuable. And no woman is drawn to a man who needs her approval because the one who seeks validation can't lead emotion. He's following it. So after a few minutes of polite conversation, she says, "It was nice meeting you," and walks away. He's left standing there confused, thinking, what did I do wrong? I was being nice. I was confident. But the truth is, he wasn't confident. He was performing confidence. And performance is just insecurity dressed in better clothes. Now watch the second man, the one who knows the technique. He sees the same woman, same setting, same moment, but his energy is different. He's not approaching her to win her over. He's already decided she's probably going to like me. Not because he's arrogant, but because he carries an unshakable assumption that he's enough. That belief alone changes everything. When he walks toward her, his steps are slow and grounded. He's not rushing. He's not planning what to say. His face is calm, his eyes steady. He's not there to impress. He's there to enjoy. He reaches her, pauses for a second, and simply says, "You look like you're trying not to have too much fun tonight." No flattery, no tension, just a playful tone. She laughs, caught off guard by his relaxed energy. He's not analyzing her reaction, not chasing validation. He's observing. He's leading. And because his energy says, "You already like me," her mind starts to align with that reality. They talk, but notice the rhythm. He's not trying to fill every silence. He lets pauses breathe. He's not waiting for her approval. He's enjoying the moment. Every word, every glance communicates, "I'm comfortable in my world. You're welcome to visit it, but I don't need you to stay." That feeling, that calm detachment is magnetic. It creates mystery. It makes her want to prove that she is fun, that she does have his attention. Without realizing it, she starts investing. Her laughter becomes softer. Her eyes start searching his for signs of approval. The polarity has flipped. Now she's the one trying to earn his interest. That's the invisible power of mindset. Same woman, same conversation, but one man transmits need, the other transmits abundance. And women always follow the stronger emotional signal. The first man sends out the message, "I hope you like me." The second sends out, "Of course you do." And her body, her tone, her chemistry respond accordingly. Men often think attraction is about doing something, saying the right words, showing the right lifestyle, using the right moves. But attraction is mostly about being something. A man whose emotional state is unshakable. The first man builds his confidence on her reaction. The second man builds his frame on his belief. And that's why she feels drawn to one and indifferent to the other. Let's dissect this deeper. When you talk about your achievements, your car, your muscles, your money, you think you're signaling high value. But what you're actually signaling is insecurity. Because true high value never explains itself. It assumes you'll notice. And if you don't, that's fine. It doesn't change anything. The moment you start trying to impress, your energy says, "I'm afraid you won't like me unless I prove my worth." That's emotional submission. And submission kills desire. Women don't fall for the man who tries to convince them. They fall for the man who gives them no choice but to feel something. And feelings aren't triggered by logic. They're triggered by frame. When you're grounded in your frame, you become unpredictable in a world of predictable men. You don't follow scripts. You don't filter yourself to please. You lead with calm certainty. And she feels that leadership. It relaxes her, excites her, and challenges her all at once. That's why the man who acts as if she already likes him wins, because his energy is congruent with abundance. He doesn't need to say, "I'm confident." He doesn't need to talk about success. His silence is success. His stillness is power. His presence is proof. The irony is that the men who work hardest to appear confident are usually the least confident. They overcompensate. They flex. They overshare. But a man who truly understands his value doesn't broadcast it. He embodies it. And embodiment always outshines performance. Now imagine being the woman in that conversation. She meets hundreds of men who all use the same lines, the same compliments, the same energy of "please pick me." Then she meets one who looks at her like she's already chosen him. Not arrogantly, just calmly. It feels different. It feels real. And the feminine instinct responds to that difference instantly. That's when attraction turns into curiosity. She starts thinking about him after the conversation ends. She replays his tone, his calmness, the way he looked at her without flinching. She wonders, why didn't he try harder? Why didn't he ask for my number first? Why did it feel like I was the one being tested? And that question begins to loop in her mind. That's where obsession begins, when she starts trying to solve the puzzle of your composure. So understand, this mindset isn't just theory. It's the silent architecture beneath every interaction. It decides how she feels before you even speak. The man who thinks he needs to prove himself will always create resistance. The man who assumes he's already accepted creates flow. The first is climbing uphill. The second is walking downhill with gravity on his side. That's why results look unfair. Two men doing the same thing. Yet one gets ignored. And the other gets chased. The secret isn't charm or luck. It's alignment. The internal belief that says, "I don't need to win this interaction. I already have the power I need." That belief radiates through your tone, your body, your silence. And because women feel what you feel, she can't help but follow your lead. So here's your takeaway. Never try to prove your value. Never sell yourself. Never explain why you're worthy. Because every explanation is an admission of doubt. The man who truly holds power doesn't demand recognition. He assumes it. He doesn't try to be interesting. He is. He doesn't chase. He attracts. That's why the man who acts as if she already likes him always wins. Not because of arrogance, but because of inner certainty. He doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth. He's already convinced himself. And in the world of emotional resonance, belief is contagious. Now the question becomes, what happens when that woman, now intrigued, now emotionally hooked, starts to test you, push your limits, or challenge your composure? Because she will. It's how women measure the truth of your frame. And how you handle that test determines whether attraction grows or dies. Let's break that down next, because the real test of power isn't when she smiles. It's when she tries to see if you'll lose control. 4. The frame tests. How to pass female challenges. Every woman tests men not because she wants to destroy confidence, but because she's trying to find it. It's not evil, it's instinct. Women test to see what's real. They test to find out if the man in front of them is emotionally stable or just pretending to be. Every test is a simple question dressed as a challenge. Are you as strong as you seem, or will you crumble the moment I push? You've seen it happen. You're talking to a woman. Everything's flowing and suddenly she throws a line like, "You sound like a jerk." Or, "Are you trying to flirt with me?" Or the classic one, "You're just trying to get into my pants." In that instant, everything freezes. Your brain scrambles for the right response. You feel the tension rise because you know that how you react next decides everything. Most men fail right there. They start defending, explaining, justifying. They don't realize that by doing so, they've already lost. When a woman tests you, she's not asking for logic. She's reading your emotional reaction. Your words don't matter nearly as much as your state. If your energy shifts, if you tense up, overreact, or try to clarify, she feels your insecurity. She senses that her words have power over you. And the moment she feels that, attraction collapses. It's not about ego, it's about safety. A woman's biology is wired to search for emotional stability. If you crumble under small pressure, her instincts whisper, he won't hold up under real-life pressure. So, she tests not to hurt you, but to measure you. This is what most men never understand. When she teases you, rejects you, or throws verbal jabs, she's not attacking your worth. She's testing your frame. Your frame is the invisible boundary that defines how you interpret reality. It's your inner sense of power that says, no matter what happens externally, I remain unmoved. And that's the difference between men who lose control and men who become magnetic. The weak man reacts, the strong man observes, the magnetic man absorbs the energy, stays calm, and redirects it without losing composure. Let's examine the 3 lines again and the 3 ways most men fail. She says, "You sound like a jerk." He panics. "What? No, I didn't mean that." He starts apologizing, explaining, trying to fix an emotional state that didn't need fixing. Now she's no longer attracted. She's bored because she knows she can control him with one sentence. She says, "Are you trying to flirt with me?" He smiles nervously. Maybe a little. Translation, I'm seeking permission. He just signaled that she sets the tone. He's following her frame. She says, "You're just trying to get into my pants." He tries to prove her wrong. "No, I'm not that kind of guy." But in trying to defend his innocence, he reinforces the accusation. His reaction shows she hit a nerve. And the moment she senses emotional disturbance, she disengages. Now, let's look at how a man who understands frame control handles it. He knows that every test is a small earthquake, a shake designed to see if his foundation cracks. But instead of fighting the shake, he welcomes it because he knows tension is attraction in disguise. There are 3 ways to handle female tests without losing the frame. And when used correctly, they don't just neutralize the challenge, they make you more attractive. 1. Ignore. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move. When she throws a test, she's baiting you for a reaction. If you give her one, she wins. If you don't, she starts to question her own words. A calm silence can speak louder than any defense. She says, "You sound like a jerk." You simply look at her for half a second, smirk, and keep talking about something else. You don't reward the test. You don't even acknowledge it. In her mind, that silence tells a story. This man doesn't need to defend himself. It triggers curiosity, and curiosity breeds attraction. Women are emotional detectives. When they can't provoke a reaction, they start wondering why. They think, what's behind his calm? Why didn't he react? Why doesn't he care? That mystery makes them feel something. And feelings are the foundation of obsession. 2. Humor. Humor reframes tension into play. It says, "Your test doesn't destabilize me, it entertains me." That's pure power. She says, "Are you trying to flirt with me?" You lean back slightly, smile, and say, "Depends. Is it working?" Or, "Wow, you catch on quick." You're not defensive. You're playful. You just turned a challenge into flirtation without losing control. Humor works because it transforms resistance into flow. Instead of fighting her energy, you redirect it. You show that you're comfortable with tension and that comfort is what she responds to. Remember, attraction isn't the absence of tension, it's your mastery of it. 3. Redirect. When ignoring or humor isn't right for the moment, redirection takes control back elegantly. You acknowledge her energy, but steer it elsewhere without argument. She says, "You're just trying to get into my pants." You look at her calmly and say, "Only if you make it that easy." Or, "Wow, you think highly of yourself." You haven't denied, justified, or explained. You've reframed. You stayed in power. She feels your confidence, not your need for approval. Redirection works because it flips the script. Instead of reacting to her frame, you redefine it. It shows that you're in charge of meaning. And whoever controls meaning controls emotion. Understand this. Every test is an opportunity to demonstrate composure. And composure is the ultimate aphrodisiac. When a woman sees that her words can't shake your calm, she feels something primal. Because at a subconscious level, she equates emotional strength with safety, and safety is what allows her femininity to open. Most men misunderstand the nature of female challenges. They think she's being mean. She's playing games. But in truth, she's measuring potential. She's asking, "Can you handle me? Not just my beauty, my moods, or my words, but me." The full spectrum of emotion that comes with the feminine. If you can't handle small tests, how can she trust you with her real vulnerability? So the next time a woman challenges you, don't flinch, don't defend, don't explain. Smile inwardly and think, "Ah, here it is, the test." Then apply one of the three responses. Ignore, humor, redirect. Each of these responses communicates the same silent message. I decide what affects me. That message is what makes a man irresistible because it signals emotional control, the rarest quality in today's world of reactive men. Let's go even deeper into the psychology. When a woman tests you and you pass, she feels a release of tension in her nervous system. Her body relaxes. Her mind quiets. She doesn't know why, but she feels more drawn to you. That's her biology recognizing your leadership. And when you fail, when you react, justify, or get defensive, her nervous system spikes. She feels unsafe, disconnected, even irritated. She doesn't consciously say, "He failed the test." But her emotions shut off attraction automatically. That's why frame isn't about dominance or control. It's about emotional steadiness. Frame is what tells her, "I can be myself around this man and he won't fall apart." That's what women crave at the deepest level. A man whose mood doesn't depend on hers. So the next time she tests you, when she rolls her eyes, teases you, or pushes your buttons, see it for what it is, an invitation to lead. Because in every interaction, she's subconsciously asking, who's leading the emotional tone here? Me or you? The man who leads wins always. And when you master these three responses, ignore, humor, redirect, you stop being reactive and you start being magnetic. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who remains calm in chaos, playful in challenge, and grounded in truth. That's what separates boys from men. That's what creates the frame she can't escape. Now that you understand how to hold your frame when she tests it, it's time to go even deeper. Because there's a level beyond stability. A level where she not only respects your power but starts chasing it. Where she feels the pull of your composure and starts craving your approval instead of giving you hers. Let's talk about how to become the challenge she can't resist. 5. Becoming the challenge. Turning the tables. There's a law of human nature that never fails. Anything that's hard to get becomes valuable. Scarcity creates desire. The less accessible something feels, the more the mind chases it. This isn't just true for money or status. It's the foundation of attraction itself. When you first meet a woman, she doesn't fall for your words, your looks, or your resume. She falls for the feeling of earning your attention. The moment she senses she doesn't have to earn it, that your focus is automatic, its value drops. That's when curiosity fades. That's when you go from the prize to the pursuer. Women don't consciously plan this. It's instinct. They're drawn to the challenge, not the certainty. Because the challenge signals value. It says you have options. You have abundance. You are the one who decides who gets access. And the man who embodies that energy, who behaves like the prize, flips the entire dynamic. He's not trying to get chosen. He's the one doing the choosing. That shift alone changes everything. Let's look at how this law plays out in real life. Imagine a woman asks you a simple question. So, what did you do all day? Now, most men answer from habit. Nothing much, just worked a bit. What about you? It sounds polite, but what it really communicates is you're the center of my focus. I'll match your tone and keep this safe. There's no tension, no spark, no frame. It's predictable, and predictability kills polarity. But the man who understands value plays the game differently. He smiles slightly and says, I did a lot of exciting things today, but I don't think I can tell you. He creates mystery. He implies depth. He gives her a question to chase instead of an answer to forget. In that one sentence, the dynamic shifts. She's no longer evaluating him. She's trying to decode him. She wonders, what does he mean by that? Why won't he tell me? Now she's the one trying to impress him. That's the art of becoming the challenge. You turn every interaction into emotional contrast. She gives pursuit. You give distance. You reward curiosity, not effort. You make her feel like she's slowly earning access to a world not everyone gets to see. When a woman feels that, attraction transforms into obsession. Because obsession isn't built through constant attention. It's built through selective attention. She must feel that your time, energy, and focus are valuable currencies, not freebies. Think about it like this. The average man gives everything up front. Validation, attention, availability. He floods the market with his energy and then wonders why it loses value. But the high-value man treats his attention like gold. It must be earned. And the moment she feels that she has to earn it, she invests emotionally. You don't do this by playing games or withholding affection. You do it by living a life that doesn't revolve around her. Your purpose, your discipline, your boundaries. Those are the foundations of your value. When your world is already full, her presence becomes a privilege, not a necessity. And women are drawn to that. Not because they're manipulative, but because masculine abundance makes them feel secure and excited at the same time. Now, let's talk about the deeper layer. The psychology behind this shift. When you chase, you place her in a position of power. Your energy communicates you're the prize. I'm trying to earn you. Her instinct interprets that as emotional weakness. Because women are biologically wired to seek men who lead, not men who seek approval. But when you hold your frame and act as if she already likes you, something fascinating happens. You reverse the polarity. She starts trying to earn your attention. And the more she invests through texts, through curiosity, through effort, the more emotionally hooked she becomes. Because investment creates attachment. You've probably noticed this pattern before. The women who chased you the hardest were never the ones you begged for. They were the ones you made work for it. That's not arrogance. That's balance. Because when a woman has to earn you, she values you. When you give yourself away, she forgets you. The high-value man doesn't need to prove anything. His calmness is proof. His scarcity is proof. His detachment is proof. Every action, every word, every silence reinforces that he's the one who decides where his energy flows. When you live by that law, women start to sense something rare about you. You don't text first out of anxiety. You don't explain yourself when plans change. You don't chase after short replies or lukewarm interest. You wait because your time is too valuable to waste on uncertainty. And when you do engage, your energy feels deliberate, not desperate. That's what creates the chase. It's not about manipulation. It's about positioning. The prize never runs after the pursuer. It stands still and lets the world come to it. When she feels that your attention must be earned, she enters a psychological loop. She starts wondering what she has to do to keep you interested. She replays your words, your tone, your silence. She starts competing, not with other women, but with her own curiosity. Because the feminine mind can't rest when faced with uncertainty. It needs resolution. And you, by holding your frame, deny that resolution just long enough to build attraction. That's why mystery is powerful. Not because it hides truth, but because it creates space. And in that space, her imagination does the work for you. Her mind fills in the gaps with the most flattering stories. She starts to imagine that you're busy, important, disciplined, desired. You don't need to say a word. Her psychology completes the narrative. This is how you turn the tables from being the one who proves himself to being the one she tries to qualify for. From being the one who waits for approval to being the one who gives it. That's the transition from the chaser to the challenge. Let's bring this full circle. When you first met her, you might have thought, I hope she likes me. That thought alone made you chase, overinvest, and lose frame. But when you replace it with, she already likes me. You behave differently. You speak slower. You listen more. You move less. You become a man who doesn't need attraction. He creates it. From that state, everything you do communicates value. Your words become fewer but sharper. Your humor becomes effortless. Your silence becomes powerful because you're no longer reacting to her. She's reacting to you. This is the ultimate shift in male-female dynamics. When she feels that you are the prize, that being around you is a privilege she must maintain, that your attention is something she has to earn, not something you hand out freely. And when that dynamic locks in, obsession is inevitable. She starts to crave your approval because you no longer seek hers. She wants to decode your silence, win your respect, earn your affection. She becomes addicted to the emotional high of your scarcity. That's when you've turned the tables completely. Never forget this. Attraction doesn't belong to the man who tries harder. It belongs to the man who values himself higher. Because a man who values himself forces others to do the same. He doesn't need validation. He gives direction. He doesn't chase women. He draws them in. He doesn't ask to be chosen. He chooses. So when she asks, "What did you do all day?" don't tell her everything. Make her earn your stories, your laughter, your world. Because the less she knows, the more she'll want to know. And that curiosity will pull her closer than any compliment ever could. That's how you become the challenge. That's how you make her chase. That's how you turn attraction into obsession. So remember this truth, the one that separates men who are forgotten from men who are remembered. Treat her as if she already likes you and never seek approval again. Because the moment you stop asking for permission to be desired, you become the man every woman wants but few can have. And if you haven't watched the previous episodes, now's the time. Because everything you've just learned is one piece of a larger system. A system that shows you how to master frame control, how to project calm power, and how to build the kind of presence that makes women compete for your attention. Start there and never again live as the man who chases love. Be the man who creates it. If you've made it this far, you already understand the foundation. Attraction isn't about chasing, proving, or performing. It's about energy, presence, and the invisible power of belief. The moment you stopped seeking approval and started acting as if she already liked you, the dynamic changed forever. You became the prize, you became the challenge, you became the man she can't stop thinking about. But this is only the beginning. Because what separates a man who creates attraction from a man who commands respect is the ability to control his frame in silence. Most men lose power not because of what they say, but because they say too much. They reveal their emotions too early, explain their intentions too often, and chase clarity that only weakens their mystery. Power isn't loud. Power is quiet. It's the calm certainty that makes everyone else adjust to your rhythm. If you want to understand how to make women compete for your attention, not by manipulation, but by magnetic gravity, that's the next level. Because once you master the psychology of frame control, you'll realize that respect and desire are the same thing seen from two different angles. The woman who respects your silence eventually becomes the woman who craves your approval. And the man who can hold that silence without fear controls the entire dynamic. So here's your choice. You can go back to doing what every man does, chasing validation, over-explaining, reacting to every emotional shift, and watch your power fade each time. Or you can take the next step where attraction is built not through effort but through presence. Watch next the psychology of frame control. How to make her respect you without words. It will show you how to maintain power in every interaction even when you say nothing. Or if you're rebuilding your standards from the ground up, start with how to stop being the nice guy and become the challenge. You'll understand why women lose interest in men who try to please and how to become the man they chase instead. Choose one. Both paths lead to the same destination. Control through calm, power through silence, attraction through restraint. Because in the end, the man who speaks less and moves slower, but means every word and every step is the man who owns the room. The man women respect without understanding why, and the man whose absence is felt louder than anyone else's presence. Keep learning. Keep sharpening your frame. And remember, attraction isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more.